on May 23rd, on Memorial Day weekend, my client, Benjamin Del Real, was visiting his family, visiting his sister in Washington, D.C., and he was on leave from active duty military service and was going to do a sort of patriotic tour with his father, who's from Chicago. They met his sister in the morning, got breakfast, went to the National Archives, went to Arlington National Cemetery before intending to go to the White House later on that afternoon. Around 6 p.m. or so, they're walking east on Pennsylvania Avenue toward the White House when Benjamin notices that a individual pulls out a gun about 20 yards ahead of him and shoots the Secret Service outpost. Shoots at the Secret Service outpost. And Ben heroically takes his father to the ground and drags him behind a concrete barrier. And in so doing, he is shot by the Secret Service, unfortunately, while he's about a quarter of a football field away. Ben notices that he's starting to bleed out. He is taken by ambulance to George Washington Hospital, where emergency surgery is performed on him, life-saving surgery. And fortunately, doctors were able to save his life. But unfortunately for Ben, a couple portions of his organs were taken out, including his colon and small intestines, leaving him with significant issues today. He also tore his ACL. He's had 3 surgeries. He's had an infection, although he is an active duty soldier, so he's strong. But unfortunately, because a couple of his organs had to be removed, or portions of those organs, things will not be getting any better for him physically. He's a really strong kid mentally, and he's trying to get better, but this is going to impact him for the rest of his life. The issue is this. So the Secret Service are highly and specifically trained to identify and neutralize threats that are by definition of their training unanticipated or unexpected without injuring or hurting any civilians. And they fell well short of that this time around. And, it's one thing if perhaps Benjamin was, standing next to this shooter, this assailant, or, a foot or two away, or even a few feet away. But we're talking about 20 to 25 yards away. The Secret Service ought to be able to utilize their training, anticipate the unexpected, and, neutralize this target without hurting Ben. So with elite training comes equally high responsibility to prevent these sorts of attacks without any civilian casualties. And unfortunately, the Secret Service did not live up to that on that day. As a former U.S. Army captain, I would say one of the first things we learn in training is how to shoot, and to know that to know the targets in front of you, and to also identify if there are any targets behind you as well that you do not want to engage with. So, and I hate let's put it this way. Myself and the Del Reals have a lot of respect for the agents of the Secret Service, a lot of respect for the government. With that being said, everyone can make mistakes, but with these mistakes comes accountability. So the Secret Service on that day made a terrible mistake, and the Del Reals deserve accountability, and so does the public for that matter. So the tort process is a bit unique in this situation. So you can't just outright sue the Secret Service or sue the federal government. First, you need to file a claim with what's called the Federal Tort Claims Act, and that gives the government an opportunity to either reject or accept the claim or let it lapse. And generally what happens with cases like this is if they don't accept it or reject it, it will lapse. And after 6 months, it winds up in federal court. And in this case, it'll wind up in federal court in front of a federal judge in Washington, D.C. It's no secret that the Secret Service has had some issues over the past, couple of years. The Correspondents' Dinner, for one, letting down a few other dignitaries as well, the assassination attempts. I think that public attention really needs to be brought upon the Secret Service here and what's going on with their training. I think that they may respond with, hey, your client was just in an area, wrong place, wrong time, it's that type of thing. And to that, I would say, well, that would give any agent or any law enforcement official just license to just start shooting, mowing everyone down in the area and saying, hey, well, at least we got the bad guy. Too bad about the good guys that are in the area, as long as we got the bad guy. And that's not just unacceptable. There really is no heavier wrong than what happened to Ben on May 23rd, where he is serving his country. He's an active duty U.S. Army private first class who wants nothing more to spend his entire career in the Army. And unfortunately, a different branch of the government, the Secret Service, may cut that career short. So we need to hold the Secret Service accountable for what they've done and ensure that never happens again. At Clifford Law Offices, we focus on righting the heaviest wrongs. And in this case, there is no heavier wrong, in my opinion, than what happened to Benjamin on May 23rd of this year when the Secret Service shot him. And Benjamin is an active duty service member. He is a patriot. He serves his country, and he's going to be impacted by this for the rest of his life.